nationally, being picked very high in the ACC preseason poll, I think created a lot of expectation that I think our players actually just assumed that that would just come automatically. And obviously that nothing is won on paper. You have to play the games.
Thanks, Coach.
We'll go next to Michelle Kaufman.
Hey, Jim, following up on that same theme, piggyback on it, knowing all that and having said all that, how do you give the team optimism going forward for the game on Wednesday and the ACC tournament when things, when you're on a 7-game skid? What can you do to motivate this team at this point and to keep them hopeful when things are not working out? Oh, and one more thing, just an injury update, if you could. Speaking of injuries, do you expect anybody to be out Wednesday or come back or anything like that? Thanks.
Okay, so the answer will include both questions. So on Saturday, we took off Tuesday and Wednesday. We practiced Thursday, Friday, and we actually had an inter-squad scrimmage on Saturday. So the inter-squad scrimmage was 6 players versus 6 players. So we had a white team and an orange team. And the white team was made up of the 6 players who have played the most minutes versus the orange team, who have basically been the guys who have come in off the bench throughout the season. And in the first half, the white team scored 58 points. Now, that's incredibly positive from an offensive standpoint. Obviously, the orange team was not able to slow them down or shut them down or guard them at all. And I think the reason that the white team was able to score so successfully, it's the first time that we had 2 practices leading up to the scrimmage where we had everybody and everybody was healthy. Nigel Pack played, Wooga Poplar played, everybody. So the starting team was Nigel Pack, Bensley Joseph, Wooga Poplar, Matthew Cleveland, Norshad O'Meara, and Keyshawn George came in off the bench, was the 6th man, and probably played 3/4 of the first half anyway. So my point being that when we're healthy and they get the chance to practice together and they do the things that we plan on doing, then we're a much different team. We're healthy today. Will we be healthy on Wednesday? Well, I don't know. We're going to practice today and tomorrow, and we'll have to wait and see.
We'll go next to Gene Wong. Go ahead, Gene.
Hey, Jim. I imagine you're looking forward to coming back to DC, an area from which you're very familiar. The coaching landscape of the ACC looks a lot different since the tournament was there in 2016. We're used to seeing Roy, Kay, Mike Bray, Jim Bam, et cetera. Now it's just you and Tony and Leonard and Brad that are coming back. Just what is your perspective on the state of the conference with some of those legends gone? And I imagine you still believe it's thriving with the new coaching blood that's been infused since then.
Well, it's pretty easy to answer that question. Who are the 2 teams that are going to be fighting for the league championship on Saturday?
Yeah, probably Duke and Carolina, right?
Not probably. That's who's fighting for it.
Yeah.
It's the torch was passed to John Shire and Hubert Davis. They've both done an amazing job, and both their teams are playing great basketball at this point. Teams don't play great every single night, even if they're great teams. And you don't win every single game. Is there anybody in the country that's undefeated? I don't think so. So, who plays the best, who's healthiest at that time, who has the most rest, that's a factor. But I think the conference is in great shape. I think this is the best basketball league in the country. Everybody talks about what these other leagues are so much better and we're ranked lower. I think it's ridiculous. Just look at when the NCAA tournament starts in March, who in the heck is advancing? All right. In years past, last year we were in the Final Four. The year before, Carolina and Duke were in the Final Four. We've had more teams win the national championship than any other league in the last 20 years. And if you go before that, the ACC dominated college basketball.
Are we at a time where it's going to be less and less to see a case of guys like you and Leonard who've been with teams for 20, 30 years, and just because the state of the game and some coaches don't want to deal with NIL and the portal and all that kind of thing? Is that where we're at?
Well, I definitely think the portal and NIL are a major factor going forward.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely amazed that I'll use the term NCAA, but whoever our leaders are, to think that this status quo is any good for the game. We need some major changes in college basketball. First of all, we have over 360 teams, programs, schools in Division I. That's an exorbitant number.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, there's not a lot of competition between what people refer to as quad 1 teams and quad 4 teams. They have nothing in common. So I think there's got to be some dramatic changes made in our game and in college athletics completely. To have we've now have gone. When I first got in the league, I don't remember how many teams there were. First 11 maybe, and we jumped to 15, and now we're jumping to 18.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we just have too many leagues, and just the Pac-12 is now
Pac-2
out of business. So we need to figure this out. And I'm not the one with all the solutions, but it's pretty easy to identify the problems.
Thank you, Jim.
We'll give the last question to Michelle Kaufman.
Hey, Jim, I'm just wondering, what are you expecting from Boston College on Wednesday for the last game? What are you expecting for your last game? What's your objective, and what are you expecting from Boston College? How do you guys match up with them?
Okay, well, first, when you look at Boston College and you begin to prepare for them, you always go back to the last time you played them. And we played them just a short while ago in Boston. It was a heck of a game, very close throughout. We had a 5-point lead with 5 minutes to go and just didn't hold on. Everything starts with Quentin Post, who is 7 foot, 250 or 60 pounds, can shoot the three, can dominate inside. He had 30 points against Pittsburgh the other day. He is certainly one of the very best players in our league and in the country. So our defensive game plan has to begin with how we guard him. The last time when he was ball screening, we guarded it 2 different ways. We first guarded it by what we call showing on a ball screen, where his man showed. And that means you put 2 on the ball. That left him open, and he buried 3 straight threes. So that didn't work, so we started switching. Well, when you switch, he goes inside and posts up the smaller guy. We did a great job then of keeping the ball out of his hands, but it opened up the 3-point shot, and they shot tremendously from 3 that day. So the second thing you have to concern yourself after you decide how you guard Quentin Post is, how do you guard the 3-point shooters? They've got a lot of very good 3-point shooters. And with their front court, they're very good on the offensive boards, and that's always been a weakness of ours. So we've got a lot of work to do in preparation. I'm very, very hopeful that we'll be at full strength. That would be the first thing. And then the next thing is we got to figure out how to guard Quentin Post and those 3-point shooters.
Michelle, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, we'll have a little break here, about 8 minutes.